All right, welcome back to Morning Live. And of course, Thursday, 14th of March is a day put aside to, of course, mark the World Kidney Day. And trust me, it's been a very, very long journey for medics around the world to make sure actually now they start awareness about kidney diseases and just to make sure the important functions of the kidney. And of course, so many people have been diagnosed with this ailment, and treatment is actually out there. And with me in studio, I'm joined by Dr. Isaji from Nairobi Hospital, and she'll be telling us more about now the day, of course, and how people have actually been trying to fight kidney ailments around the world. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Nick.
you very much. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. Now, a World Kidney Day, of course, put aside, that means it was a very, very serious situation before it was actually put aside for the purposes of awareness. Now, tell us, how has the journey been as far as now ailments, treatment, and everything just concerning kidney?
Well, I think our country is really trying in terms of trying to help these patients with kidney disease.
Okay.
I believe the National Hospital Insurance Fund and dialysis access has improved in our country greatly in the past 3 years. We have much more centers of dialysis. We are picking up in terms of transplantation within our country. So I think we are making great strides towards that. In terms of awareness, we are still behind. A lot of patients we receive with kidney disease come in very late stages.
Okay.
And at that point, it's about dialysis rather than preventive measures.
Okay. Very strange, because now the awareness, when you look at other ailments, other conditions, is given more awareness. For example, now the other day, like the month of March, is something very different. They put aside for endometriosis, something, of course, doctors are also trying, the gynecologists are also trying to make sure that women know about this. Now, kidney, sometimes it's very unfortunate when you hear someone saying, I want to sell my kidney, a very healthy person, I want to sell my kidney. Is it not that serious that someone needs actually two to function properly, or it's just a matter of now the commercial angle of it?
Let us first point out, you are not allowed to sell a kidney.
Okay.
Nowhere in the world should you be allowed to sell a kidney. Kidney donation, in terms of live donation from a living person, should be done voluntarily.
Okay.
It should not be something that is bought. This is trying to reduce commercialization and drug trafficking of organs, which is a big issue in other parts of the country. In other, not rather our country, but in other countries like India, it's quite a big issue where
Trafficking of body
trafficking of body parts. So when we start saying selling of kidneys, we are actually encouraging that. So kidney donation is a willingness. And before we qualify you to donate a kidney, we usually make sure that you're fit, that you are able to live with your one kidney. We don't just take any kidneys from any person. There are a series of tests that you have to undergo. You have to go through counseling, you have to go through the ethical parts. Somebody who is independent of the transplant team should make up and say, yes, I have sat down with this person and I see his motive for giving out his kidney is not money. So we cannot be motivated by money. It has to be altruistic.
Sure. Now, when you talk about ailments associated with kidney, of course, the common one, kidney stones and so much. Maybe you can tell us, what's the most common right here in Kenya?
The most common in terms of, I would say, we have a lot of infections. We have urinary infections which then lead to the kidney and we get pyelonephritis. We get a bit of kidney stones also. But we have a lot, you know, kidneys, usually you have this chronic kidney disease that no one diagnoses because you feel well, you know, both your kidneys are struggling for a very long time to sustain you at a certain level. So you feel well and you don't come to the doctor for a checkup. Most of Kenyans don't really go for annual checkups. So by the time you come to the kidney specialist, you find that you are actually at the end stage of kidney disease.
Wow, very, very unfortunate. Now, there's an aspect also of now understanding that indeed I have a kidney disease. What are maybe some of those signs that you know indeed that there's a problem with my kidney, so that at least I can seek medical attention here?
So at first we need to look at those people who are at risk, groups who are at risk. Like we look at the people who have diabetes, hypertension. Those are people who have high risk of kidney disease. So as much as I find a lot of patients who have hypertension, have diabetes, go and control their diabetes, hypertension by themselves. They don't even go to a primary doctor. They go to the pharmacy, collect drugs. The drugs are never changed. They stick to those one drugs and continue lifelong like that.
Okay.
So knowing that you are one of those population at risk of kidney disease is quite important. The other thing we look with age, all our organs decline in function.
Sure.
Yeah. So age-related decline in renal function is also associated. So when you what would be the signs? By the time you're having signs, you are actually either in stage 4 or stage 5 of kidney disease. You're not in the beginning stages. Because the beginning stages you'll manage well, you'll feel well, you'll feel great. But as you are nearing to the last stage of kidney disease, you find that you get some swellings. Yeah, most of the time it's around the lower limbs. You get swelling. You might get this acidity-like symptoms because the toxin levels is high in your body. So you get this irritation in the stomach. Sometimes you might get a bit of vomiting and nausea. So those are the first signs that you might have. And by the time some come, they're really serious. They have palpitations because of high potassium levels. They are swollen all over. They have difficulty in breathing because the fluid has gone to their lungs. So most of the time, we either get referrals from other specialists like diabetes or diabetes specialists, or we get a referral from medical practitioners that the kidneys are having a problem. Look at them.
All right. We're not taking a short break now. When we come back, Doc will be telling us more about association between alcohol and kidney, because so much out here about alcohol, liver cirrhosis, now kidney also being affected. So Doc will actually now be clearing everything to make us understand how alcohol is also involved in kidney diseases. All that after a short break. All right, welcome back to Morning Live, and it's World Kidney Day, and we have Doc in studio. She's actually telling us more about now how to maneuver through the disease, and ignorance is out here big time. Guys are ignoring their condition, thinking the kidney is just small pair of just part of the body that they're supposed to function forever. But trust me, there's so much that needs to be done. Now, Doc, let's continue this conversation because alcohol in association with liver, of course, so much, liver cirrhosis and the fear. Is kidney in any way associated with the liver as far as functionality is concerned, and how can alcohol affect the kidney?
So let's look at alcohol. Alcohol is a risk factor for a lot of diseases. You have a risk factor for liver cirrhosis, like you mentioned. We have a risk factor for cardiovascular diseases. We have high cholesterol level. You tend to get metabolic syndromes, diabetes, hypertension when you consume a lot of alcohol. So even in terms of liver cirrhosis, you might think it's just your liver affected, but eventually your kidney will be affected because they're all linked together. You get cardiac problems, you might get kidney problems because they are again linked together. So alcohol is a major problem in our country, especially in some parts of our country.
Okay. Now, the myth of men who wet their bedding, that indeed, very unfortunate. We have also, we associated with kids who wet their bedding, but we also have men out here who are like grown-ups who really do this quite some time, for a long time. Some even go for treatment. But what's always the cause of this?
So you have to understand that men have a prostate gland. All men have prostate. So as you grow older, your prostate enlarges, and as it enlarges, it causes a pressure effect on the urine flow. So you find that you are unable to pass urine well. So you find that you go to urinate, you have not completely voided. Or you find that you need to frequently go to the bathroom, or sometimes you cannot hold it in. So when men at that age start having these symptoms, they should go and get their they should go and get their prostate checked.
Okay, all right, okay. There's also another issue But of course, you know, in Africa, so much happens. You'll be told so many tactics on how to prevent such things. Holding urine for long. I know the pelvic muscles are also involved here, but holding it for long, how is it like endangering your kidney in this situation?
You see, every time you're holding urine for long, your urinary system is filling up. So you might have a bit of backflow of urine back to your kidney.
Okay.
So it's not advisable to hold urine for long. In fact, pass urine well so that you don't retain that urine within the system and cause scarring of the kidneys.
Okay, okay, interesting. Now, salt.
Yes.
I see people using salt, and it's something that really, maybe real time while cooking in excess. What's your advice on this?
I generally find Kenyans use a lot of salt.
Yeah.
We use so much salt that even when we go to a restaurant, we have food prepared. There's enough salt put in those food, but you'll find us adding extra salt on top, and that just makes me so worried at times that if you are seated near me, I'll tell you, do you want hypertension?
Wow.
And I'll make you stop it, yeah?
Wow.
Salt is a big factor for in terms of getting hypertension. Hypertension eventually will lead to kidney diseases.
Yeah, sure.
So please minimize the use of salt. In fact, what natural salt is available within this food is the most you require. Then we add it when we are cooking. So too much salt is really bad.
Detoxifying functionality of a kidney is very integral in human, actually, the whole metabolism, the human health. But as much as alcohol is involved in this, do you think sometimes we stress our organs big time? Because now that's why people have problems. Do we need to kind of be disciplined on how we actually consume? Because as a detoxifier, there's a way that we can also put it under pressure. How is this now, how can this be achieved now?
I mean, generally, a healthy lifestyle is very important, yeah? Eat everything in moderation. Don't go excess. We are now tending towards more of, you know, the Western lifestyle. We have a lot of junk food in our meals, and that is not helping us in terms of safeguarding our organs. We have a lot of use of over-the-counter products from the pharmacy. I mean, people feel more comfortable going to the pharmacist and asking for drugs without going to the doctor asking for that. So you find that sometimes some of the drugs you are using are not really the best. And at times you have used so much of them by the time you are coming that you have used so many painkillers that are also give you a risk of kidney failure. And by the time you are coming to us, it's actually related to the number of painkillers you have been using. Especially these types of like diclofenac, ibuprofen, they're labeled as non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. So basically a healthy lifestyle is important. The other thing, water. Yesterday we had a screening at Nairobi Hospital, and I mean it's quite hot nowadays. It's like 29 degrees,
37.
And it's crazy. It's crazy, It's really hot. And the people who came in, you'd ask them, how much water do you consume in a day? And you'd find somebody who says, I don't drink any water in a day. And you are like, what do you drink? So they're like, I drink Coke if I'm thirsty, which is not healthy, And some others would say, I drink 2 to 3 glasses a day, and we have immense heat right now. You're losing so much water by sweat, by your body trying to regulate your temperature. So drinking water is quite important.
Okay. Now, treatment. Of course, the most common treatment is dialysis, and accessibility of the equipment to just get rid of this and just administer dialysis. How is the situation on the ground in our hospitals, both private and public hospitals?
Well, I think we are really doing well in terms of dialysis access. We have around 70 centers worldwide, countrywide, and of course, most of them are located within Nairobi. We have around 20 centers in Nairobi, but at least each county has a center, a dialysis center. So I feel like the government has really tried to make dialysis accessible to the patients. Now, in terms of dialysis, dialysis is not a cure to kidney disease. Dialysis is just helping you. It just helps do the function of a kidney and helps you live a bit longer. the only cure for kidney disease is transplantation.
Okay.
So in terms of dialysis, let's talk about it. Most of our patients are either on dialysis twice weekly or thrice weekly.
Yeah.
It's usually 4 hours each session. So you find that most of these patients who are on dialysis lose 2 days in a week. Yeah.
Oh,
so they've lost 2 days in a week. After that, some of them are tired. Some of them are able to go to work, but 2 days are lost. Added to the fact that patients on dialysis have an increased risk of infections and other complications, you can imagine how many days in a year are actually health-related complications and all that. So they are actually away from work.
So that means it affects the immune system in one way or another.
Well, you see, this is a foreign object within your body. You have either a dialysis catheter and you are passing blood through a system. Yeah. So you might get a bit of infections. You are more common to get infections. Yeah. There's a lot of these infections then causes you to be admitted because of severe infections. Now, if we talk about cure and we talk about transplantation, that is the only way to go. We, as a country, are really trying for kidney transplantation. We do around 40 to 50 kidney transplants a year, which is quite good. But if you look at other countries in the world, where they do around 16,000 to 20,000 transplants in a year, we are still quite behind. It's a bit related to the fact that our kidney donors are all living people. In other countries, a deceased donor program exists, and that is why more kidney transplants are done.
Now, the cost of dialysis, common mwananchi, can he or she just walk into a hospital with the NHIF card, or maybe with the little cash they have, and they'll access dialysis? I know it's supposed to go for a period of time. So the consistency of also attending these sessions. Tell us more about it.
So what I, again, am very grateful to the government is that we have kidney dialysis being covered by the National Hospital Insurance Fund. Before, each session would be around 10,000 Kenya shillings. Twice a week would be 20.
So for
a month would be 80,000, which is truly not affordable to the common mwananchi. But because the NHIF has agreed to pay for dialysis, they don't pay anymore. But there are greater costs to a kidney patient. One is that they have to pay for drugs. They have this diabetes, hypertension, which is coexisting. They have to get injections for blood building, which is also expensive. And plus the catheter insertion cost is not covered also. So either catheter insertion or the AV fistula is not really covered. So that is the cost of for them.
Now, the biggest, of course, before you wind up, kidney transplant. Now, we talked about people who want to sell their kidney. Of course, other countries allow that, but still in Kenya, it's kind of not something that is common or not even allowed in this country. But let's talk about now the transplant, the last option for you now to be okay. How does this go now? The consent for you to get a different kidney, the tests from that person, the donor. How do you go about all this now?
So when we get patients who are willing to transplant, we start by telling them they have to look for a donor. A donor, an acceptable donor, is from your family members who are willing to donate, and they should be above 30 years of age. At this point, we are even we prefer getting patients who are we prefer getting donors who are much older, be 50, be 60.
I thought maybe the older you are, the functionality is kind of limited.
It might be one before, where the older you are, the functionality is limited, but we do not take a kidney whose function is limited. We only take kidneys of healthy individuals who do not have a risk factor. They're not diabetic, they're not hypertensive. They have good kidney function. We actually assess how much kidney function they have from both sides. If at any point we see that their kidneys are not suitable, that they would end up with kidney failure, we do not take those kidneys. At the same time, after that, we must establish, are you truly altruistic? Are you truly donating with a clean heart? You're not coerced into it. So that is part of it, pre-workup.
Thank you so much, Dr. Isaji, for giving us all this information.